Hey everybody. So welcome to my new podcast. The name of this podcast is Let's Talk About It. Now, you may be wondering why I'm at a cemetery right now. Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm at a cemetery. My first podcast is actually going to be for my cinematography class that I'm taking in school. Okay, so right now we're doing the history of cinematography. And with the history of cinematography, I'm going to be talking about horror movies. All right, so I thought it would be nice to just be in the cemetery. Now, it is sunny outside because I'm not going to be caught dead in the cemetery at night. But anyway, I'm here on the bright sunny day in Brooklyn, New York. And we're going to talk about horror movies. What's your favorite horror movie? Well, my favorite horror movie of all time, I would have to say, is the Final Destination trilogy, but we'll get into that later in the video. Now, I did take to social media and I asked the question, what is your favorite horror movie? And here are just some of the responses that I got from a few people on social media. All right, so let's get into the show. Let's talk about it. What is horror? Horror is an intense feeling of fear, shock, or disgust. A thing causing such a feeling, intense dismay. Did you know that the first horror film debuted in 1890? It did. The first film to ever depict supernatural events was created by the film pioneer George Méliès. Look him up. Let's talk about the year 1983. This is the year I was born, so you know it's a great year. Director Joe Alves presented the third installment of the hit American film, Jaws. And from the inception of the Jaws movie franchise in 1975 until the present day, anytime people all over the world think about the beach or water, they think about Jaws. I know whenever I go to the beach, I think about Jaws. And millions of people all over the world definitely think about Jaws. When you think about sharks infesting the water, what movie comes to mind? Jaws. I have an interview with Joe Alves where he talks about him traveling the world, and everywhere all over the world, people know Jaws. It doesn't matter where you go. Check out this interview.
I could travel every place in the world, and I've been to India, I've been to Japan, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. They know Jaws. I mean, it was amazing. I was scouting a movie many years ago, and I was in some remote part of Japan. And I had an interpreter because where we were, there was no English signs at all. And I was so tired, and I fell asleep on a train, and I woke up, and there were these little Japanese girls. Turned out to be high school girls. They're all dressed in black. And the guy said, because I had a Caucasian face, my interpreter said, "Oh, this guy did Jaws." So I woke up, "Oh, Jaws," and he started with the Jaws thing. So I made a mistake by making a real quick little sketch of a shark, and I gave it to one of the girls. Well, they all lined up. And I sat there and I drew sharks, for 50 little girls. But I don't care where you go. that is the one movie that I could think of. I can't think of any other movie. Maybe Star Wars, but wherever you go in the world, someone has seen Jaws.
In 1988, the doll we all love to fear is born. Child's Play is a movie about a character that was gunned down, a murderer who was gunned down by a detective. So while the murderer is dying, he puts his soul into a doll. Then a young mother buys that doll and gives it to her son. Now, when the son witnesses Chucky, the doll, killing his babysitter, then he realizes that the doll is alive. Then the son actually goes to try to tell people, but they don't believe him, and then they actually institutionalize him. Now that's a great plot, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time. 2016, present day. Let's talk about the latest installment in horror films, The Blair Witch Project. Now we all know the Blair Witch Project. I know you know the Blair Witch Project. I know the Blair Witch Project. Him over there, they know the Blair Witch Project. We all know about the Blair Witch Project. It's one of those movies that have imprinted horror in our minds. Whenever we have to go camping, we will always think about the Blair Witch Project. So this movie tells the story of 3 film students who go into the woods to seek out the legend that is the Blair Witch. Now, of course, they get lost that night and find trouble. Who would have thought? This movie shows itself to be shot on a video camera. One of those old school video cameras. Now, in the 2016 version, they actually are using a DSLR as their camera of choice. Times have changed, haven't they? The Blair Witch Project 2016 still gives the movie watcher the first person view experience, which is good because a lot of video is shot in that first person view mode, especially with GoPros and everything now. You didn't really see that many camera angles like that back then. If you haven't seen it, go rent it or get the DVD. You won't be sorry. So I hope you guys enjoyed that show. When I get my grade back, you'll be the first to know. And then our next episode, we'll be talking about topics, little politics here and there. We have a lot of things that we're going to talk about, but please like this video, subscribe, share it on Facebook, share it on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day, out of your schedule to watch this show. Until next time, let's talk about it.